Winter is over. Well, for some of you, winter may not be quite over. But this is a pair of boots that I have worn for years. But as you can see, they're peeling and it was just time to get rid of them. Well, I didn't want to throw them away because there's a nice zipper in them and there's also some nice fabric. So I'm going to show you how we're going to take these boots and turn them into this. To start with, I'm leaving the boot all zipped up, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it off right here. So I'm just going to find a spot to get in there and just dig in and just cut. And as I cut, I'm going to cut straight across that zipper. And I'm just going to cut this out because that's going to give me the fabric that I need. I'm cutting around the section here because these are going to go in the garbage, so I didn't want to throw away this fabric because I could probably use it for something. So now there's the boot piece that I've cut off, and here is the shoe. Just any pieces that we see that we can use that might be beneficial. So I'll cut the strap off, and the shoe goes in the garbage. So now that I've disconnected the upper section of the boot from the shoe portion, now I'm going to leave the zipper zipped because we want to stop this zipper from running off so we can use it again. But what I'm going to do now, because I want to save as much fabric as possible, is I'm just going to take the zipper off. I'm getting it started, and then I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to continue to cut it off. I'm going to take my chalk and I'm going to measure 1.5 inches on each side for my strap. So I'm going to do a generous 1.5 inches, so I might even do 1 inch and 5/8. So I'm going to go ahead and do that all the way down. Now, so that the bag is even, I'm going to fold this in half like so that I cut the same amount off on both sides, and I'm going to cut them all together. Okay, so now I can do the same thing. You can lay them on top of each other and mirror them and cut out the same amount on each side. And like I said, this is just going to make you a little small strap. Now I'm also going to take off 2 inches off the bottom. And you might want to ask, why am I doing this? Because it makes the bottom of the bag bigger. So now we're going to take them and place the pieces right sides together on top of each other like so. And you're just going to go ahead and stitch up the side seams. And I'm doing a very small seam allowance. That gives you more fabric to work with for your bag. Now that it's sewn, I'm just going to turn it so you can kind of see what it looks like once it's all turned. And there's the little bag. Like I said, it's not you know, much at all. It's just a little simple little bag. And so now I'm going to flip it back on the right side, wrong side, because we want to give the bottom of the bag a little bit of depth. So I'm going to take the bag and I'm going to fold it just the opposite, kind of like this, so the bag kind of starts to look, you know, kind of funky looking. And I'm going to press that down, and then this is going to give me an opportunity to sew across the bottom to give the bag a little more width at the bottom of the bag. So I'm just going to pin this in place right here and do the same thing on the other side. I'm making sure that the seam on the top is lining up with the seam on the bottom. That allows the bottom to be straight. Right where I have this little piece of fabric where it's sewn on the inside, I'm going to sew beneath that, which is giving me about 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inches. So I'm going to sew across 1.25 inches that we just sewed. We're just going to cut that excess off so we don't have all that bulk. The fabric doesn't unravel, so you don't have to finish it off. So now we'll just turn our bag. Okay, so that pretty much takes care of the front portion. So now we want to have our bag to have a little bit more character. So I'm going to pin this on the inside, because you see how it's kind of coming out like so, and I want to bring it in a little bit. So I'm going to line these up And I'm going to put a pin right here, maybe about an inch inside. Same thing here, about an inch inside. And that'll just give your bag a little pleat on the outside. To do that, we're going to flip it on the wrong side again. And you're just going to stitch. And when I stitch, I'm only going to stitch down about an inch. Okay, now I've got the little pleat stitched on the side. So when I flip it back over on the right side, so now it just has a little bit more character on the side because it's got like the little pleats. Remember we had these little straps on the side of my boot? I'm going to slide it down until it meets the lines that where I'm going to sew. So I'm going to pin that in place. And do the same thing on the other side. Okay, and then repeat the same thing on the other side. So now that I have those pinned in place, one on each side, just add a little something extra. Now I'm just going to top stitch those down. You want to make sure the stitch is pretty secure. So now I have the strap sewn down, and I noticed that it was peeling back a little bit. So I went ahead and just did a little top stitch up top just to hold it in place. And so now we want to work on our shoulder strap. Now remember we had these pieces that we used, and you're going to put two of your pieces together and you're going to line them up on top of each other like so to make one long strap. So to take the strap, I've taken one strap and I've cut an angle, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other strap or the other piece that I have. So that way when the two line up together, you won't have all the extra bulk. So I'm going to go ahead and top stitch those down to make one long strap. Okay, so I've connected the straps, and what I did is I went in and did a top stitch to hold that stitch down so it'll be nice and flat. So what we're going to do is I'm going to turn these into one strap that I can connect on the side just to make it, you know, one handle. So to do that, I'm going to take the two pieces and I'm going to lay them on top of each other, and I want to make sure that they're lined up evenly. And so I'm going to shave off the excess to make sure they're the same length and the same width. So I'm just going to take the strap on one side, and I'm going to go ahead and just make sure that it's nice and straight. And then I'm just going to do a top stitch to hold the two pieces down. And I'm going to do that all the way down on one side and come back up on the other side. So here is my strap, and what I decided to do is, because at the top of my bag or the top of my boot there was a zigzag stitch, so on either side of my strap I decided to do a zigzag stitch to kind of match it a little bit. Okay, to attach the strap I want to add a little extra character on the sides as well. So I've got two key ring loops, and I'm going to actually put them on each side and let the strap come through there. But I need to make a little band to kind of go around that to hold that in place. So this is a piece of the leftover that I'm just going to take it and bring it in on top of each other. And then I'm going to do a zigzag stitch on this as well. There are the little straps that I made, and like I said, I did the zigzag on them as well. So I'm going to take my straps and I'm going to wrap it around, you know, one side of the little hook, and then I'm just going to sew it down like that so that it's sticking out a little bit on the upper edge, maybe about, I've got it sticking out about 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to pin that in place, and I'm going to stitch that across, and doing that for both sides, and that's going to give me a little extra length to my strap. There are my loops sewn on each side here, and I'm just going to take this extra fabric here and just cut that out because we don't need all that excess. So now all we have to do is attach our strap. So now we're going to take our strap, and it's a little bit wider than the hole, which is fine. So I'm going to bring it from the outside in, and I'm just going to turn up a small amount on the strap. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do the same thing on this one. So now we have that pin, so now we're just going to stitch that down. Now I also did a zigzag stitch on the strap portion as well. So now you see we've added character to the bag. As far as closure goes, I took a piece of hook and loop tape, or also known as Velcro. And I don't want it the full width, so I got two pieces, or you know, the male and the female end, and stuck it on top of each other. And then I'm going to cut it down because I want it small. So I'm just going to peel it open, and I'm going to stitch one side down on the front, and then I'll stitch the other side on the back. So I just sewed my Velcro in. I just took a piece of Velcro and just stitched it across on each side, so that way you can at least have the bag closed. So our bag now is complete. We've got the straps done. We've got, I thought it turned out pretty good to be just a bag that came from a pair of boots. So if you have those pair of boots laying around that are no good anymore, cut off the tops, recycle the material, and make a cute little small bag that you can just carry every day. So I hope this tip has been helpful on how to turn your old pair of boots into a new purse. I hope you try it. Happy sewing!